Hello everyone, Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little different. We're doing a tier list for all the gods in Death Must Die. So what I've done is I've gone through each god for each character and kind of ranked them based on how I feel they are for each specific character, like taking into account that character's builds and whatnot, and then kind of graded them from like low to high, kind of golf scoring it, sort of. So like lower scores, the better. Anyways, I'm going to go through it for each character, Avaron all the way to Lauran. And then at the end, I will show off, where the gods actually rank. And as a whole, when you combine them, before we start that, and there's going to be some stuff on the screen that I'm not actually sure where it's going to actually fit. I say that going into this because I'm just recording it like this now, and then I'm going to like add the graphics and editing. So bear with me if it's a little jank. It's kind of on brand for me now. Whatever. So before I actually start ranking the gods, though, there's a couple things we have to talk about. There are a few abilities that are so powerful that they kind of supersede anything that the gods are doing. So, for example, Crun, the war god, he isn't overall that incredible. However, he has the single strongest legendary ability in the game, God of War, which is just a massive damage increase to every character. So every character can use him on basically every build for, just a win, unless you're playing like some obscure thing. So I'm taking things like that into account when I do this, but I'm not factoring them in because if we factor those things in, there would just basically be 3 or 4 gods that you'd pick, and you'd never pick any other gods for any reason. So I'm going to go over those abilities first. First one, as I mentioned, is God of War. The second one is Justice, and that is for inner peace specifically, but also for survivability, armor through the protection blessing, and through reprisal is also surprisingly powerful. So Justice is like the way to get sustained in the game, and there's not really an alternative. You can get Vampirism for Mort, but it's whatever. Speaking of Mort has Mayhem. It does not scale on the same way God of War does, but it is one of the other ways to scale global damage. And following that up, we have Winter, who has hard CC, like the best CC in the game, plus Hoarfrost, which deals blanket global damage for each debuff on an enemy, which can end up actually doing more than God of War, but it requires more setup. So generally, if you have it, it's at least 66% global damage because you have Winter, so you have cold damage. But you're normally going to get a little more out of it than that. And then finally, the only other thing to talk about was Time and Gem High. And I guess to a lesser extent, Alteration Ritual, because you can win any run with Alteration Ritual if you get lucky. Gem High is generally just good on every character. So when I'm grading these, I'm grading them as a whole, not based on in each specific ability. So keep that in mind when you see these lists, because they're not probably going to align with everything that you might say. And then I'll talk about the notable things as we go through it. Anyways, let's get into Avaron. All right, so Avaron as a character, he is based on armor, and he is based on attack and powers. That is based on his talent tree. You basically want to lean into your talent trees. So for gods, he's pretty obvious. Justice is the best one for him, not even counting Inner Peace. Inner Peace is obviously fantastic, and it makes him basically invincible. But getting more armor can scale his damage, and he benefits from powers. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Then we have Mort, who also has another aura ability, has the damage scaling. I have Mort at 2 for him. I have Nin at 3, and Nin is there because Nin has the rock aura, the little orbitals, that should get buffed in the next patch. They're not amazing right now, but they should be affected by projectile velocity in a future patch. If they are, she's going to be extremely powerful. If she's not, if they aren't, it's kind of eh. But she does give extra attack radius, which is very good for an attack build. And she gives power radius, which is good for the auras. After that, I have Winter at 4, Crom at 5, Legong 6, Summer 7, Time at 8. That's wrong. I forgot to switch it. Summer's at 8, Time is at 7. Again, if you take into account Gem High, I might have Gem High above Legong. But, you know, if you take into account God of War, you probably put God of War above Nin. So it is what it is. But mostly it's just justice. It's justice. So going on to Maris. Maris is actually interesting. I think Nin is the best god for Maris because Landslide is actually just the best spell. It doesn't do the most damage, but it hard CCs everything in the game. Which means you just win and you don't have to ever do anything because she gets to so many free casts. Now, that said, right below Nin, I would have Justice because Light Rays is incredible. All the sustain, Inner Peace, Pandemonium, all the things are great. Time I have after that, which these next three are kind of all about the same, right? So Time has Time Bubble, whatever it's called, the Time Bubble spell. It's incredibly powerful, especially if you get the area up, which again, cast area is also in Justice, so that's why Justice is number 2. But you can't have multiple projectiles affect it, so that hurts. But also, the Time has Force, which helps with her infinite pull build. So there's synergy there. We're not even going to talk about Summoner Maris. Like, if you want to do Summoner Maris, that's fine. I have, you play with Winter and Mort, and it is what it is. But yeah, I have Time, and then I have Crom. I have Winter. Winter's good. CC, just all around good stuff. And I have Mort. Then I have Legong. Then I have Summer. Summer again, sitting at the bottom. There's a little caveat with Summer that maybe you could put Summer above Legong for Trail of Fire dash builds with Maris. The only reason I might say you wouldn't do that is because Legong also has Second Bolt. And Second Bolt is the legendary that lets you double cast, and she already has a double cast talent, so then you start double casting off of your free spells, and it gets kind of silly. So that's where I have it. Like, it's basically based on the spells, right? It's Landslide, Light Rays, Time Stop, Blades, Frost Area, whatever, Frost Zones, I think it's called now. I don't know. They changed the name after Act 1. And then Black Snakes. And then next up, Nixie. Nixie's interesting because I'm not super comfortable with this one, but I actually have Mort number 1. And the reason I have Mort number 1 is interesting because 1, you get Vampirism, Mayhem, Lifelink. Lifelink works. I have D100 clear on the channel of using Lifelink plus her legendary dagger that gives extra projectiles. She also gets Sickles. Now, you don't actually have to take Sickles, but the joke with this is that Half Moon Nixie is one of the best Nixie builds because the Half Moon status effect, or the Half Moon effect on items, is the same as Sickles. So you start spreading status effects for free, which also triggers Vampirism. And then Malady, which I guess I should have mentioned that at the start too, is one of the skill like legendaries. It's like extremely powerful. Start spreading those debuffs, and it also increases your status damage by 100. So Mort does a lot of things for Nixie. Nixie also has very high base attack speed, so she gets more out of Vampirism. However, I don't like playing Nixie, well, in general right now. I think she's kind of underpowered, without Justice also. So I have Justice at 2. I have Mort 1, Justice 2. For Justice, I just put down notes here. It's just armor, reprisal, inner peace. There's not really much else to say. She needs the help. One thing to note about Justice before I talk anymore. Justice's dash is actually one of the better dashes because of the way the damage works in the game now. if you are going to not be a dash build, you want your dash to have some utility. So like Nin's dash creates a wall, which is good for blocking lasers and whatnot. Justice's dash is kind of fantastic because not only does it give you move speed, it also doesn't trigger certain other abilities from showing up to bluff to blow your best blessing pool. Like Crun has the extra damage for dash effects, right? If you have Justice's dash, it doesn't do damage. Because of that, that ability won't show up in Crum's pool. So by using Justice's extra movement speed dash, not only do you get a movement speed, but you also don't have to see blessings that you wouldn't otherwise really want to have. It's pretty good. It's just a nice thing to have. Anyway, that's that for that. Next for Nixie, I have Crun, God of War. Fatality is really useful. You kind of need it for her to stay alive, take care of some of those elites that are close range. You could argue some stuff about Bloodlust and Shurikens being pretty good too. Her attack range isn't high enough to make the Crun stack matter. Then I have Winter for CC. It's kind of needed. Time for just doing time things. Then Legong, then Summer, then Nin. Extra area stuff doesn't really help with Nixie. There's nothing going on there. Summer at least has Breath of Fire, which I think is pretty good with Nixie. It's not amazing though. Let's move on to Crun. Crun's fun. I actually left this one kind of small, so I can't see it. Hold up. Let me just make this bigger so I can read it. Okay. I'm pretty sure I could just list off my head though. All right, so we have Nin at number 1. Again, this may or may not be true, but I kind of like it. Basically, I have Nin and Crun about the same because of their basic attacks. Crun is a weird character that his best build doesn't really care what god you use. It's just his talents and gear. And then like some stuff from Nin and Crun. Or Crunt and Crun. It's going to be confusing. Anyways. War, I should say. So Nin has, attack area up, which is basically the only reason I have Nin at number 1, because the two, Crun has 3 builds, right? Crun has big attack, War Chief, which is just an attack build that abuses attacks, stomping, like you get extra dashes, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And your dash damage doesn't affect it. And then the double power build, which is you'll see that affects some of the rankings here in a minute. But because the 2 other builds are highly affected by Nin and Crun, I have them up above the others. Third, I have Time. Time is good for all of the builds for attack speed and attack and cooldown for gem high, but also alteration ritual, which is the big one, because in the ancestral power or knowledge build, I forget what it's called, you start double casting alteration ritual, gets out of hand quick. It's maybe my favorite build in the game. It's really silly. Highly recommend trying it if you haven't, and if you want to check it out, it's in my playlist somewhere. There's probably like 2 or 3 videos of it because it's so fun. After that, it's Winter for CC. Have Summer next. Not really sure why I have Summer next. That's wrong. Summer should be lower. I think Summer's actually below Justice. I'd put Justice higher. The only reason Justice isn't higher here is because Crun doesn't actually need Justice, because his talent tree is so powerful and he gets natural HP regen, natural extra life, and damage from that. So you just you don't need the sustain that Justice normally gives, but it's still really good. So you can move Justice up to above Winter even, or Legong if you wanted, if you're not playing the alteration ritual thing. Legong's high because lightning bolts also double triggers, so you could do stuff with that. I have Mort at the lowest here. Oh, that's why I had Summer. Okay, I realized why. Forgot to put a note by it. Summer has increased attack speed, and that makes one of that makes one of Krant's builds better, which is about the same, I'd say, as about Mort, because like mayhem and whatnot damage. I don't know. Krant's really hard to judge because he's such a powerful character by himself. Like the gods don't really matter for him. Let's move on to Scotty. Poor Scotty. Scotty having such a rough time. So this is in my experience. I imagine this could be different for everybody. I have Winter number 1. I think Scotty needs hard CC to succeed in this game. In the current state for higher difficulties. At 30, everybody can clear. I'm going to mention this again later in the video. At difficulty 30, everybody can clear on basically every build, which I'm messing around with now in some videos. Second, I have Legong for all the strikes. Scotty is a strike character and has extra strikes built into the tree, which is insane for tornadoes and for In the Name of the Desert, the legendary that, or the mythic unique that Scotty gets. One of the coolest weapons in the game. After that, we have Justice, because Scotty needs Sustain so badly. Justice could be number 1 just because of how bad it's needed, but it doesn't like actually help because Justice doesn't have a strike. Although, because Justice does have a basic attack that adds a debuff, that does help the mythology build for Scotty. So like the top 3 are pretty far ahead from the next one back. After Winter, Legong, Justice, then we have Nin at 4. What I found recently, posted a video on that one too, where I won Darkness 100. Excuse me. If you get enough attack area and also Earth Strike, which is one of the best strikes in the game, if not the best strike in the game. If you have enough attack area, Scotty has a massive cleave. It's not Krant big, but it's pretty close to it. It doesn't go long, but it goes like fucking wide, like wide. It's really good. Next, after that, I have Time. Energy Missiles build is pretty good. Alteration Rituals, fine. Gem High is really good, as usual. After that, I have Mort. Mort might be a little low here. Some people might disagree with me. I expect some comments from some of the more experienced players to probably put Mort higher because of how strong Sickles is with Scotty. I haven't had a lot of success with it on high difficulty, like very high. At 30, this thing trolls the game. It crushes. Like, if you take the mythology build on Scotty, max out Sickles, you're going to run over everybody. Like, everybody. It's so good. Especially, like, if you get Vampirism, too, because you're going to leech from everything. The Sickles leech. You're spamming it. It's applying all the debuffs. You're getting all the extra damage. It goes hard. The problem is, once you go to, like, D80 plus, you just start taking so much damage in close range. It's a nightmare. And then below that, I have Crom at 7, which I think for Crom, the only benefits are God of War and God of War and the attack. Honestly, God of War is strong enough. You could put Crom up to like 3rd or something and be fine, but how it is. Summer's at 8 again. I think we're seeing a theme here about Summer. Like, doesn't work. You know, she's my favorite god, but it don't work. All right, and last character specific list here I have is for Lauran. This one's up in the air. I think 1 and 2 are extremely close here. I think so. I have Legong 1 and Nin 2. You could swap them. So Lauran to me is a strike character. Basking Greatness is one of the best things in the game. Probably like the 3rd best thing you could do right now. Beyond War Chief and Perma Stunlock Cast Maris, or whatever type of Cast Maris you want to play. Earth Spike versus Tornadoes is the argument there. Legong has more support. You get Hurricane and Unchained Lightning. Nin, you basically just get Earth Spike plus Strike Area, which is nice, admittedly. So those two are replaced. Those could really be 1A 2A, maybe the closest out of any of these in the whole list. Third, I have Justice. He has a little bit of base tanking, like a little bit of evasion, but with extra move speed plus dodge at the top of his tree, but he could use a little help. Then we have Crom. Fatality is incredible on Lauran. It's not about God of War is great, but Fatality is crazy because he has a 1 point bouncing arrow talent. He attacks from super far away. He's the best ranged attacker by a mile. Like Maris' attack build isn't even close. Then we have Mort after that. The Mort Sickles build, like I said on Scotty, is basically the same on him, only just way better. Because you'll fire 3 at a time on crits. So you can shotgun anything. Now you do have to get pretty close because they come out straight from you. So you could run into some troubles if you aren't careful, I will say. That is like one thing you have to be aware of. But the damage is absurd because you could just pump your attack damage and just go all into Sickles. So that's another thing you could do. I just have it a little bit lower because it's a little niche. It's extremely strong though. Like Lorian's like overall probably the most balanced character, the way the game probably should be, I would say. Because Kron's overpowered. I will just straight up admit it. Kron's too strong. But Lorian's in a pretty good spot. Everybody needs a little sustain help though. And then after that we have Time, Winter, and Summer. Summer's last. Time does what Time does, and Winter's CC, but he loves it, but he loves other things a little bit more. Also, Time has energy missiles, and there is an arcane archer build that's sick as hell. Anyways, that's for each character. Let's look at the totals real quick. I will put this image on the screen during the thing right now. I just have like the Death Must Die background, so whatever. So if we look, I'm looking at this right now. That's why I'm looking into this, like some direction over here and not like at you guys or the monitor or whatever. If we look at this, we have it sorted from green is to lower. Green is best to this reddish color. I don't think it went all the way red. It's weird. Whatever. You'll notice Justice comes up ahead of everybody by a lot at 17. Even with me lowballing her on Crun. I've got Nin second. Surprisingly, I didn't think I would, but I guess because Maris and Crun really like it. Like Nin could go down a couple, but I think I have Nin second. Then we have Crom, Winter, and Mort, and Legong, and Time, all within 3.7 others. So we have Crom at 25. And I think that's fair because he does have God of War, so he should definitely be third. That's at least worth like several points. Winter at 26 overall. Pretty good. I think I probably lowballed her a little bit on Lauran, but at the same time, probably highballed her a little bit on Scotty. So I think it evens out. Then we have Mort at 27, which feels right. After the nerf to Soul Stealers and Vampirism kind of like not cutting it at higher difficulties. If it stole like 2 HP per hit, like above Darkness 50, maybe this changes a little bit. But right now, doesn't do it. And Legong tied with Mort at 27. It's a different beast. I say, even though they're tied, Mort's definitely ahead because Mort has Mayhem and Malady, which are way better legendaries than Hurricane and Second Bolt. Then we have Time later on. Time's interesting because I think Time is stronger the lower difficulty you are, but the higher difficulty you are, you kind of have less time to just like fuck around. And Time does that a lot with Alteration Ritual and other stuff. Like, he has really strong abilities, but and I'm also, I don't know, but Gym High seems really rare to me. I don't know why, it just hasn't shown up. So that to me, it might be a personal thing. I might be lowballing Time, but that's where I have it. And then Summer's like 20 points behind in some other state. because I don't know what's going with Summer. And Meteors is the worst spell in the game. Fire Elementals is the hardest thing to get to summon. My hand is white as can possibly be with this light on in this like lighting situation I have. I apologize. What else? What does she have going for her? Like the bonuses to power. Flare got nerfed. It's not fast enough to deal with Act 2 enemies. Burn just doesn't do any damage. It just doesn't. Like it's just bad. Trail of Fire. Summer has Trail of Fire. It's like the best dash in the game. That's it. Summer has one thing going for her. I guess her attack speed buff is also decent. Gehenna is okay. Not amazing. Inferno is just, I don't think is very good. Fire Dragon's good. Fire Dragon is good. So she has like 3 blessings that are good, and like one of those is situational, and the others are just like okay. I'm not happy about it. So yeah, that's how I have my God rankings right now. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. I'm gonna do a tier list or blessing list or however you want it. I'm gonna do a tier list of blessings, but I'm gonna sort them by types, so like attack, blessings, strikes, cast, and so on and so on, so we don't have like an hour-long video or some bullshit like I did in the first act when I was doing this the first time. So I'm trying to do this better. Try do more better is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. You guys have been super supportive. We're about to hit 8K subscribers, which is insane. And I will see you all tomorrow with another video. But before I go, I need to pitch a couple things. One, I am about to start doing some consistent streaming on Twitch. There'll be a schedule up on Twitch, actually, probably by the time you see this video. In addition to that, there'll be a link down in the description to go to my Twitch page. What's going to happen over there is that I'm going to be like streaming random whatever stuff. Because of the YouTube algorithm, this channel is mostly set for roguelikes, and I'm also going to squeeze in like reviews and stuff here, but I can't go and like make like a let's play series on, I don't know, Baldur's Gate, for example, or when Elden Ring comes out in like 20 days or whatever. I can't put my Elden Ring Let's Play on here without like harming the channel. So what's going to happen is I'm going to play that stuff over there on stream, and I'm going to either upload that to a different YouTube channel, which I haven't created yet, or Patreon. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about which one you'd rather do. I would put it on like a free Patreon, and if you guys want to support me on it, awesome. I appreciate it. I would also just, again, keep it free for you guys. But like, let me know. I'm still trying to figure all this out, trying to make it work. Anyways, enough rambling. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Jeff out. Bye.